So I am very happy to present this husband and wife team from Linings. They are here to talk to you about home modifications and home safety and how it relates to reducing your risk for falls. So please give your attention to them. I'm sure they have a lot to go through, but I'm sure they'll take questions as well at the end. Okay?
All right. Take it away. Thank you for that, Christina.
You're welcome.
I'm Snehal. And this is Shirish.
Hello.
We are from Golden Lining. And I'm going to talk about things that are little bit beyond grab bars, right? And we hear about accessibility, we hear about safety, and our mind first goes to grab bars, right? Like there are grab bars everywhere. But there are many other things we can do, like when it comes to our home, when it comes to our own safety. So I'm going to go a little bit beyond grab bars and talk about that those things. So little bit about ourselves, right? Like I come here and I say I'm Snehal and he's Shirish and we are married. But what makes us qualified to talk about these things, right? That's a question. If we are not asking that, we should be asking that when someone is giving us that information. So who are we? So we are a husband and wife team, married for a little too many years, I guess. So we are the founders of Golden Lining. And our background, we have a deep background together. We are in the industry for more than 60 years, right? That gives away my age. But yes, more than 35 years in technology, in assisted living and memory care homes. So, we come from a technology background. We have developed products, we have developed softwares, we have developed different medical devices, right? I used to work with Hillrom before, some of you might have seen the beds, some of you might have seen the intelligent walls we used to build in the hospitals there. From there, we, like in most cultures, that is the scenario. But specifically in the cultures that I come from, we both, were born and brought up in Mumbai, and then we moved here for education and our work. So like in most cultures, we take care of our parents, and we take that to heart. Most families are also nuclear families in India. So when we moved away from here, it almost felt like we are missing out on doing some of that. And our siblings currently do that. And this was our way to pay it forward. So this is the reason we got into the senior care business. We started our assisted home and family care homes. We used to own one in Cary, one in Fuquay, one in Apex. From there, we started to bring both of those experiences together. And we got into home safety, home accessibility, to make sure people can age in their own homes, but do it safely. Like, don't come to my assisted home facility if you don't have to. Like, stay in your own homes. So we are bringing both of those experiences together into Golden Lining. And we have the certifications, so you can see that certified senior home safety specialist. There is the building CPA specific certification as well. We are both certified MedTech, MedEd, administrators, facilities administrators. So we have built the facilities ground up. I say all of that just to say, please listen to me when I'm going through the next slides, because I do consider myself qualified to talk on this topic. What am I going to cover? So we will cover importance of fall prevention. We will talk about some practical strategies to prevent falls. We will talk about a few home modifications and home furnishing kind of ideas that we can use. We will also talk about technology solutions, and I just talked about my deep technology background, so we are both very passionate about technology and how little bit of technology in everything we do can help us live better, help us be independent, help our loved ones also keep informed about our well-being, right? So there are multiple things we can do with technology there. So we'll go through the technology solutions as well. we have a lot to cover. So I will really ask for the question and answer sessions. Like, let's hold the questions to the end. Not just because we have a lot to cover, also because, every individual scenario or situation could be little bit different, and what we present here might be little too generic, right? So if you have a specific questions about a specific use case or your individual situation, let's get into that towards the end. Sound good? Good. All right. So let's talk about what comes to mind when we think about aging, right? So the first thing in my mind is always getting old is a privilege, right? Getting old is a privilege. Not many people get old like we do. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Then comes the wrinkles, the gray hairs, wisdom, maturity, right? But then the risk, worries. What about if I have a fall? What if I have to have the hospitalization? Sometimes other words come to mind because it may not be us, it might be our loved ones, right? So the words that come to mind could be elderly, parents, grandparents, right? So different things when we are talking about aging to different crowds or different sets of people, different words might come to them. Today though, here specifically, we are going to talk about falls, and we are going to talk about fall prevention. So going to the next part here. What is the likelihood of someone falling, right? That question comes to mind. Also to me, I have 2 kids, and of course all of us used to be kids ourselves, right? What's wrong with falling? What's wrong with falling, right? Like we walk and we run and we play and we fall. The problem is as we age, the falls can cause serious injuries, right? And that's the problem. So falling in itself, for someone it may not be a problem, for someone else it may be. So here is the statistics. It is the number 1 cause of injury and loss of independence in seniors. So falls, right? Falls is the number 1 cause. 10,000 of us are turning 65 years or older every day. 10,000. 1 in 4 adults aged 65 plus falls each year. Let's let that sink in, right? 1 in 4. My mother-in-law fell about a month ago, and she had to have a hip replacement. I was just talking to Christina about she needs to get certain types of canes, right? 1 in 4 adults age 65 plus fall each year, and leading to injuries and loss of their independence. 1 out of those 5 falls causes serious injuries, right? 1 out of 4 fall, 1 out of 4 of those, so 5 of those causes serious injuries, and 6 out of 10 falls happen in our familiar environment. We think, but this is where I live. I have known this place. I know where my kitchen is. I know where my things are. But 6 out of 10 of those falls that cause serious injury really happen in a familiar environment, which is, and most of the cases, that's people's homes. Why should we care? Why should we care, right? So what is cost of falls? When we think about costs, there are monetary, but there are also long-term costs that come with it. When we are thinking about monetary, because that's always the worry, we are thinking about insurance, who is paying, what's covered, what's not covered. We think about surgeries, we think about hospitalization, the rehab, the physical therapy. If not for us, we are thinking about it for our parents or grandparents, right? Physical therapy, occupational therapy, what other things might be needed for me to get back to what was me before, right? Those are the monetary costs. And then there are long-term, right? There is disability. There is loss of independence, because now, things that we are able to do before, suddenly we cannot do. And now we have to depend on someone else, right? Like I was able to drive before, now I need to rely on somebody else. I was able to take care of myself, now I need to rely on somebody else. So that loss of independence. And then what that brings worried loved ones, right? And then they are going to be literally sometimes be on our backs to not be in our own home anymore. They are like, no, you got to move, I got to, like, because I can't be worried all the time, right? So it's the worried loved ones that sometimes will drive us away from our own homes. And that is a huge cost to pay. And that's why fall prevention is important. Let's talk about the common risk factors, right? So, we talk about fall, and, I might be painting a scary picture, but what are our risk factors? It's good to know our risk factors. So there could be individual risk factors, there could be environmental risk factors, there could be behavioral risk factors. One of the first one, and that's like one of the major causes, right, of fall is as we age, we are losing the muscle strength, we are losing the bone density, so many things are happening in our body that are different. They happen gradually, so sometimes we don't even notice them. But that reduced balance and reduced flexibility, that muscle weakness is one of the major causes why falls happen. Our vision changes. There might be hearing loss, right? Things are happening around the world, but we are not sensing them as we used to sense them before. And how would I know? How would I know that an alarm is ringing if I don't even hear it, right? And I have worked a lot, even on the software side, I have worked a lot on accessibility and safety, even on the web, even on so using softwares that we use today, or using devices that we use today. As the abilities go down, sometimes we don't even realize that the abilities are going down, right? Until that maybe physical comes up and we are going for an eye exam, going for a hearing test, and we are like, oh, maybe I need something more, right? So that speaks to the individual abilities. That could be risk factors. So it's really important that we get tested and we know what we are able to do or not able to do anymore, because then we can address the problem, right? Knowing the problem is the first step. Then there are the environmental hazards, and Shirish will talk a lot about that. But there is the clutter, there are the loose rugs, there is the floor plants, and we all love them, right? The house looks beautiful with it, and we all love them. But sometimes, with the loss of balance, with the vision changes, we might not see if there isn't enough color contrast, if there isn't something that to alert us that that's there, we could trip over a small piece of rug. And you're like, oh, but that's so cushy. No, it doesn't feel so soft when we fall like that, right? That's when we feel it. So there is clutter, there is loose rugs, there is floor plants, there is poor lighting, and Shirish will go into how we can address some of these, and he'll talk about solutions. And then there are behavioral factors, right? Like sometimes we kind of get into certain habits and we stay with those habits. So inappropriate footwear. Today I wear proper sneakers. I used to wear high heels, right? Few years ago, and run to the trains. We lived in Boston, we lived in New York, run to the trains. I don't do that anymore. You learn. It's like when you know better, do better, right? I don't do that anymore. I'm like, no, wherever I'm going, doesn't matter what kind of party, I'm in my right footwear, right? It doesn't matter. We talk about rushing. So we always have too much to do. It doesn't matter what the abilities are. To the best of our abilities, we end up filling up our calendars, and we always have too much to do, and we are always rushing. When we are rushing, that's when something goes away from our attention, right? Like suddenly there is something. It's like, where did that appear from? No, that was always there. I wasn't paying attention. The thing that we used to see in our senior care homes is, even when there wasn't too much to do, there was too much waiting. Like, do I call my caregiver? She seems to be busy, I need help getting up, and now someone is late to the bathroom, and now they're rushing to the bathroom and they fall, right? There is the wet bathrooms, there is the floor, there is always something in the middle, and they fall. Neglecting small hazards, or even creating small hazards. I have done this myself, so sorry, guilty. I read a lot. So, I sit in a chair or I'm on the sofa and I have my books in my hand. Then I'm tired and I drop them on the floor. Maybe I'll nap here a little bit. Then when I get up, I'm tripping over my own books. right? I have done it, guilty, right? So we create our own hazards too. So these are the small habits, if we change some of these things, we could keep ourselves a little bit safer, right? Well, nothing can guarantee that we'll never fall. The most we can do is do all the things right, do the things that we need to do so we don't fall. Now that I have painted the gloomy picture, what's the good news? Good news is it can be prevented, right? There are things we can do. So there is getting the facts, knowing our risks, right? There are several risk assessments available online. People like Christina, there are other agencies, other companies that provide those kind of services, right? Know the facts, know the assessments, know your risks, then gather resources. And you guys are already doing that. You are here, right? You are here to learn. So think about what knowledge and what's expertise is out there. Know where that is, when you are going to need it, know where that exists. Know about the tools and technology, and Shirish is going to come in very next slide because that's what I do in marriage. I talk about problems and make him fix it, right? Then he talks about solutions. So tools and technologies, and once you know that, right, and once you know that and know your risks, you can tie that together and make a plan and execute to that plan. So I'll stop here and hand it over to Shirish to talk to us about solutions.
Yeah. Thank you, Snehal. And appreciate the detailed, gloomy picture. But yeah, so we can definitely look into prevention strategies and how we can avoid the falls wherever possible. So in this picture, right, the top ovals that you see, think of it as your tool belt, right? Things that you can use and which are applicable to you, you can apply it to prevent your fall. The center one, those are your individual assessment, individual risk factor, individual skills level that would identify whether you can do something by yourself or you might need assistance from someone, right? Somebody is handy, they can get up the ladder and do whatever they need to do. Others might I don't even want to get on the first step of the stool, right? So individual abilities makes a big difference on what you can handle yourself and where you ask for help. And help does not always mean, call 1-800 number someone, right? It can also be your kids, your grandkids. They are tech savvy. They are handy enough around the house that they can help you. But ask for help where you feel you need help. Okay. So definitely from this presentation, one thing you should take away is whatever you can do yourself or minimal assistance, do it and avoid as much falls that you can or possibilities of fall that you can. Okay. Snehal already mentioned, as we age, our muscles get weak. We lose bone density. Our balance is not as good as it used to be. Right? And there are definitely modifications, small and big, that we can do to help us, right? Example, over here, there is a long list of assisted devices. And you are already aware of most of them, right? Walkers, cane, lift chair, wheelchair, shower seat, reachers, grabber. Whatever you need, use them. There's no shame in using what is required for us, right? For example, let's take a shower seat. Who all have shower seats here? Great. You are to a good start, right? Because, shower, it's already a tile floor. With soap and water, it gets slippery. Sometimes long shower, my showers are longer than I would like to admit. But after a while, sometimes you feel lightheaded, dizzy, and you want something to grab onto or sit if you feel that way and take a moment there, right? But so having a sturdy shower seat is great, but you can go a step beyond and have something that is bolted to the wall, because you definitely don't want the shower seat to topple when you reach out for it. So I'm not saying just having a shower seat is a bad idea, but you can always see how you can make it safer than what you have right now, right? That's a great segue into having something sturdy, right? Sturdy furniture. If you have a wobbly furniture in the house, consider replacing it with something sturdy that can bear your weight should you need to lean on it, grab it, or reach out for it. Same goes for, like we already talked about declutter, hazards. You think of hazards and I'm like, why would somebody have hazard? Can you guys think of any hazards in your home?
Like
Yes.
my books?
Exactly, yeah. That's, a lot of things happen because cats, and especially if you have a small dog or dog, the belt, because they like to go around you, so things definitely need to be aware of. But like she said, right, there are wires. We have extension cord. We love extension cord because there are so many devices, not enough plugs. And the extension cords are running across the hallways. And that can be a hazard, right? So definitely look around your house, see what you can do, like make sure the pathways that you travel on a day-to-day basis, right? Going from your couch, from living room to your kitchen, to the bathroom, bedroom, wherever it is, make sure your pathways are clear. If they are not, see what you can do to either tape those wires away or put something on it so you don't trip from it, right? We already talked about grab bars, right? She started with the beyond grab bars. Having a grab bar is great, but it's equally important to have the grab bars at the right height for you, right? You don't want it too tall, you don't want it too low, right? You want it at the right height, you want at the right weight strength that it can support you when you need it, right? Somebody might think, well, I'm 100 pounds, so a good 100-pound might be okay. But believe it or not, when you lose your balance and you are trying to grab onto something in a panic, you are exerting probably 8 to 10 times more than your body weight. It's, because you are trying to grasp it really frantically. So just, look at the ratings of those grab bars, how much weight they can support, because that is going to be important. They are affixed into the studs and not into just the sheetrock with like a plugs in. You do not do that, and please try to stay away from the suction ones. I know they make it sound great and people in the ad hang on to it. They are giving a false sense of security, in my opinion. So definitely yes, yeah, I mean the ads, marketing, they make it believe you that it is great. Yes, but if possible, replace it with something really, really sturdy. So non-slip floor, for example, right? We talked about like who has tiles in their bathroom or kitchen, right? And that is a big reason for slipping. But I don't want you to think, well, first thing, if I'm changing my bathroom, if not tile, what I'm going to do. And secondly, I don't want this to be a big remodel project for me, right? Because everybody dreads construction and things that come with it. But there are definitely solutions out there, right? If you go to Lowe's, Home Depot, you find it, think of it just like it's like a non-slip kind of a coating. You can apply to the tiles and it makes it non-slip. And that's a very easy solution that can be done. There are multiple products out there in the market. You just apply it. It will definitely make it much better than the slippery it can be, right? So there are things, and there are others right here like zero entry shower, for example, wider hallways. Yeah, it would need some construction, but if you need it, for example, you're on a walker in especially older homes, it's not enough width in the hallway for you to walk through, or a wheelchair. So those are times when you consider a bigger project or bigger duration project where you might need to hire someone. But there are a lot of things we can still do ourselves without needing to reach out to a contractor or somebody to just make it like a big construction project. Okay. So let's talk about technology, right? What can technology do to help us with some of the balance issues. There is a personal emergency response system, fault detection sensors, monitoring systems, home assistance, automated lighting. So I'll go through each one of them here. So the easiest one, I think you might have seen, is like the call bell. If you go to any clinic, hospital, or most of the commercial properties, usually bathrooms have, especially if they are handicap equipped, they would have some kind of call bell system. But the call bell system can also be implemented at home. And these do not need like a Wi-Fi. These are just simple Bluetooth connection. They have a long range. And these are just small. Either you can have a lanyard, like a button with a lanyard. You can hang it your neck, or you can affix it different places. In the shower, a lot of them come waterproof. So you can put it in the shower, next to your toilet, wherever you feel you might need assistance. It can be next to the bed. And there would be some kind of like a speaker or hub, if you will, that would send an alarm. So if you have somebody in your home, caregiver, loved one who is around and you need assistance, call them, right? It does not have to be after the fall, right? This can prevent a fall because you feel like, oh, I'm not feeling well, I'm on a toilet, I cannot get up, let me call someone. So these are great for that, and it's easy to implement. Not much wiring required. I have put down few of the buttons I have used in my senior care facility, but they are not, if you go Google it or Amazon, you'll find a lot of them, and all of them work equally. There are differences, some of them might have an app and it will send an alert to the caregiver. If they are, let's say, in the yard, they might not hear it. So they might have an app that might send an alert. So each one comes with a little bit different sets of features, but they are great to have, very easy to set up, and it's a big preventive thing you can do. Here's like a use case I talk about. Like, somebody is, have arthritis, and in the morning you are really sluggish, and you find it hard to get out of the bed, and you feel like you're sunk into the bed, you cannot roll. And if you get up, you feel lightheaded. Now, instead of trying to, and I know, because again, from our experience in the facility, I know you see the other caregiver working and you say, well, let me wait. They're going to come check on me, and then I will, they might help me. But then now you also want to go to the bathroom, and now you're holding. So this kind of domino effect starts, right? And it's easier to just have something simple like this. Have a call bell, press a button, somebody would hear it, come and help you. That's one of the easiest way in a system to implement. Fall alert panic buttons, right? We already know, again, all of marketing on life alert. I mean, it felt like it was running almost 24 hours, those life alert ads on the TV. But there are so many other systems, right? And most of people like Apple Watch, because it's easy, you have it with you, it has a GPS, it can detect the fall, it can, if it recognizes that you haven't moved, it gives like a timer of 1 minute. If you fall, it recognizes that the person isn't moving, it will automatically call the emergency services. So having an Apple Watch is great. I think Apple Watch 5 and beyond, I think, works better. They have those kind of thing. But also, I want to just give a disclaimer. There are different kind of fall, and the Apple Watch are designed to detect a hard fall. So not all the time we have a hard fall, right? You're biking, at like 20 miles an hour, and you hit something, you fall. That's a hard fall, right? But many times the falls are a slow fall, right? Because you feel like you're losing balance, you try to grab onto something, and you gradually go down. And Apple Watch might not detect it. So I don't want you to have a false sense of security that Apple Watch is able to detect all the falls, but it also shines in the factor that you can communicate with it. You can be on a speakerphone, you can talk to someone, you can call someone right from the phone or right from the watch, and you can ask for assistance. So don't get me wrong, I mean, this is great. But there are also other devices, there is a sensor base, those are designed for different kinds of fall. And there are lots of options around that where some might come with service fee, others might not. It's just a sensor, but it gives the ability to call whichever people you designate as your emergency contact. They can contact it. So there are different, again, individual needs changes and individual, the solution that is right for you would change based on what your situation is, what you typically do around the house or outside the house, where you would typically would be. So that would help you decide which might be a better option for you or the right option for you. So definitely look at those options when you are at that point, when you are looking for something for a fall detection. Okay. So we already talked about, these are great this is another use case. There's a person, they are in the home, they trip over a rug, like she was saying. And now you cannot move, and how are you going to reach out to a phone or call for help? And at the time, having something like that, some kind of you are wearing on a wrist, it's always with you, or most of the time, right? Unless you take it out for charging. But for most part, it is with you. And you can call for help, or it detects that you had a fall, it will call for help. So, different use case for this, based on your abilities, what your needs are. There are a lot of sensor-based one. There are like different kind of sensors nowadays. There's motion sensors, there are pressure alarms, and these are great for someone. Let's say you are caring for someone.
Could you go one slide back? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's say you have a situation where you're caring for someone who has dementia. Now, as a caregiver, you want to know when they got out of their seat. They are high fall risk, for example, or they are wanderer. And you want to know when they stepped out of their room or stepped out of their house. So these are some of the sensors where it will look just like a mat, but it is internally connected to some kind of like a panic alarm or just some kind of a system which will beep or alarm or chime, whatever it is. It's typically people put it centrally somewhere in the kitchen area, living room area. But when they try to step out, it's going to notify or alert the caregiver that that sensor was stripped. Same for the motion sensors, right? In the night, if they want to get up, they might not think, or somebody might not think. Usually people don't call for help, especially odd times, because they care for them. And they feel like, I don't want to disturb them in the middle of the night. It's 3 a.m. in the night. I want to go to the bathroom. I don't want to call for help. Even though they're sleeping right next to you, but they would not call them. And it is good to have some sensors like that where you get off the bed or somebody steps, recognizes that somebody's moving, it trips and it will wake the caregiver, and hopefully it will avoid a fall. Well, monitoring system we already know it's been around for a long time. The camera system, there are a lot of ones with Wi-Fi connected. It's 24-hour monitoring. It can detect the motions, those kind of things. But there's also sensor-based system, which I got really excited about when I learned about them. And I'm going to talk about a scenario here, right? So think about where your family members don't want you to stay by yourself. And they are worried that my mom is staying by themselves or dad is staying by themselves, and I want to know if they're doing well, if they're eating right. Did they took a shower today? Did they took their medicine? So one option I have seen people do is they just have the video cameras in their home, so the feed is just shared with the family member. So that way they can log into the system, they can see what mom is doing or dad is doing, I mean, some people are okay with that, and that works because they are already, whenever they feel like worried, they can always log in, and it's like seeing mom, seeing dad, or your loved ones, right? But there are also, you don't want to invade their privacy when you're worried about them. And that's where those sensor-based systems come in, right? Because there can be motion sensors, humidity sensor, temperature sensors. So you can have one in, let's say, in the bathroom, and one on a fridge. And you can put just like thresholds on each one. For example, for the bathroom, you might say humidity at this level for like 20 minutes, send an alert. So it sends an alert, and these are all kind of sensors connected with an app, right? And your loved one can see, this humidity sensor just got tripped, which means that mom went to the bathroom, but the shower has been running for over 20 minutes. And that's just a trigger to say, okay, let me call and say, is she okay? Did she just still in the bathroom, or did she forgot to turn off the shower? And it can be multiple reasons, right? It's as simple as the fridge. Oh, the fridge hasn't been open for 2 days. So did mom eat or dad eat, right? Mm-hmm. So there can be different sensors. They they work in conjunction with each other to notify your loved ones what is happening, right? And some nowadays with AI, we might have heard a lot of AI. So it recognizes the person's pattern, and they say, okay, mom usually wakes up, or dad usually wake up 6 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. They haven't woken up yet. So it's a trigger to say, call mom or dad, or like, hey, and they would say, well, yeah, I wasn't feeling like it, or yeah, today I'm so stiff, I can't even get out of the bed. So those are the things, and I feel like it works wonderfully because it does not invade your privacy, because these are all sensors looking at, where you're moving between the hallway to the bathroom to the kitchen, or it can be humidity, it can be temperature, and they all work together to paint a picture what's happening, and are you safe? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? And it's a win. I feel like it's a win-win for both parties involved, because like she was saying, loved ones care a lot, and that is the reason they push as we age to go somewhere, stay with someone, because somebody is always looking at you, and they feel safer than what I would feel like. Okay, I want to go to assisted living or independent living anywhere. So if you want to stay at home, but please your loved ones, I don't want to just call it please, but it can also be you have a second set of eyes, well, not literally eyes, but somebody watching you without really looking at you. And that's a great use of that technology, right? This was another one I implemented for one of the family. She was recovering from hip surgery, and she was still in that stage. She was a very high fall risk. She had PT come in, she had OT come in, she had other helpers coming in. But now she has to get up to open the door. And that was a big thing, especially she cannot get up quickly enough. So one thing what we did was she had a Ring camera, and now you have a deadbolt that is all connected to Alexa. So they can see who it is on the Ring camera. Yeah, it's my, Christina is out on the door, so let me open the door for her. And with the same, Alexa, open the door, or whatever command I decide, it can open the door without them having to get up from where they are, hence reducing the risk of fall. This was another great example. This person, he was having a Parkinson's disease. So it was really, really hard for him to be around the house doing small things or extended period of time. It can be, just opening the blind in the morning, getting the newspaper, or, vacuuming the floor. So literally it was like a all board kind of implementation for him, where literally, he had the video monitoring, he had the Roomba to clean the floor for him. The blinds were automated, so he doesn't have to go and open the blind because his room was like east facing. So every morning the sun used to be in his eyes. So in the night, definitely he wanted a dark, but in the morning he wanted to open the blinds. So these were all system, literally most of the things that he would need on a day-to-day basis were all connected to Alexa and automated system. And he was loving it because a lot of things he could do it. And he was loving it so much that his kids and grandkids used to tease him. Like he called me one day saying, "Oh, this is awesome." But my kids and grandkids now they're still that, "Oh, Grandpa, you are talking to the house now." Yeah. Okay. So these are where more on the balance side, right? So next, I'm going to move more on the vision and hearing. So of course, as we age, same challenge, right? We have our vision gets impaired, our hearing gets impaired, and there are a few things we can do to improve, and because vision can be a reason for fall because you did not see something, right? Our eyes don't adjust to you go out in the sun, you come in, the house is a little bit darker, the eyes don't adjust as we age that quickly, and that's one of the reasons to when the fall happens. So one of the things what we suggest is increase the light in the house. As much as possible. If you have nowadays with LED bulbs, it is not going to cost much in the electricity bill.
Can you tell my wife that?
Yes.
Yes.
Because it is because a lot of people worry about, oh, what about the electricity bill? Why is this running all the time? And believe me, and if you don't have the LED bulb, replace it with the LED bulb. Your bill will actually go down, right? But nevertheless, increase the lighting in the house. Task lighting, where you're reading, where you're cooking, have a dedicated light there because that would help you focus on the task that you're doing, right? You don't want to cut your fingers by accident because it's not enough light. Right? Night lights, place night lights around the house, right? And I know who likes pitch dark in the night. Right? Exactly. I don't want a night light, right? But what we then suggest is put a sensor light. So when you recognize a sensor, or like you get up in the night, that light comes on, and go one step beyond and lead the path towards the toilet. When you place those lights, place it towards the toilet, or at least something that will lead you. Because when you wake up, you can feel disoriented, whether which way is the bathroom, and having that lead the path definitely helps, especially in the night, right? So motion sensor light is great. On the color side, color contrast. One of the biggest example I can give is if you have a second floor in your house, and it's all wooden. At a certain point, depending on what your impairment would be, it all looks like a big block, and people do not understand where the step is, which the first step is, right? And one of the things a lot of people have implemented is paint the bottom of it white or some contrast color so you know where the steps are. But the challenge with that is when you look from the top down, now it all looks the same block, right? You don't know where the step is. So one simple thing that can be done is just get like a fluorescent tape and tape it to the edge of each of the thread. So it automatically creates that contrast when you're looking from down up or from up down. Each step, it will see that contrast, and you will not stumble because forget the regular fall, no fall needed from a staircase, right? Board pattern, color contrast, high contrast signage, right? On the switches, big contrast, what this switch is for. So that way, nobody wants to stumble where it is and you lose balance. So anywhere you can do high contrast switches, you even get fluorescent switches. So you're not trying to figure out where the switch is in the night or in the dark. So fluorescent lights, those light switches kind of lit up in the night, right? Same goes for sound. Like I myself have problem in a bigger crowded room. It's hard to hear the conversation or differentiate the conversation from one to other. And some of the things like, soundproofing, like these panels, right? These panels are designed to absorb the sound, and it will not echo around the house. And some might not think it's echoing, but somebody who has that impairment would feel that the sound is echoing and it's so mumbly, I cannot understand the word you're saying. Same, these are called acoustic panels. And again, a construction project might be where they change the insulation inside and they add more soundproofing in it, so things don't bounce off or echo. But easiest thing would be soft furnishing. Instead of having like a wooden couch, if it is more of a upholstered, it absorbs the sound. Heavy curtains absorb the sound, and it will help somebody with the sound impairment differentiate the conversation or hear better. Even it might be watching TV, the quality of what you hear would improve drastically by just rearranging few things. Sometimes people like to make like a quiet corner with like a partition. They move their bookcase in a way where this is like a small corner where I can, this is where my living room is, and it makes a big difference, right? So let's talk about from a technology perspective. A lot of things from a home automation perspective, we already covered, right? Where Alexa can control a lot of system. But I would also go a step beyond and say, even the cooking appliances, anything nowadays, you get appliances that can switch off automatically. I was just at the Consumer Electronics Show last year, and there was a new product that was introduced where you can replace the knobs on your cooking range with smart knobs. And you can set like, okay, after 30 minutes, switch off. So you don't have to change your whole range. All you do is replace those knobs from your old range with the new ones. And then they are, again, smart knobs. So you can say, Alexa, switch off the gas or switch off the oven, whatever it is. And it will do for you. It can have automatic timer, 20 minutes, switch off if it's on. I mean, all kind of things. So these are the solutions that you don't have to do it or you don't have to think it's a big budget that now I have to change my whole oven range to make it smart. No, there are definitely options available which are smaller or cheaper and easy plug and play. And you can make it safer for you. Also, if from an hearing impairment, a lot of times the fire alarm cannot be heard if you have impairment, because they are designed at certain frequency, but the impairment is for that frequency. If there's a fire alarm running, you can't hear it. But again, in the market, there are fire alarms that have strobe lights. So just because they can't hear, because of the strobe light, it draws attention that something is happening. And nowadays, those devices are so smart that they talk to each other. Right? There's a fire going on in the basement, and you're on the third floor of the house. It will alert that there's a fire in the basement because this fire alarm is talking to the fire alarm on the third floor and letting you know, oh, there's something happening on somewhere that needs your attention. So I think the technology has come a long way where now they have started talking to. I mean, it can sound scary, but yeah, we can figure out how to use it to our advantage. And there are definitely some ways how we can keep ourselves safe, right? When the professional who is doing it, they can put it on a different network. So it is not in your same Wi-Fi network as your house, keeping you safe, but it's running, all those devices are running on a totally separate network that they're not talking with each other. So there are a lot of things that you can do to keep yourself safe. But there is definitely things that would help you in a way to keep you safer and reduce the fall risk, or not necessarily fall, right? We talked about just fire safety for here, right? The oven is stayed on. There's something which do you guys have like a gas ovens or electric ovens, right? So like she has neuropathy and she cannot feel the things on the tips of the fingers. So sometimes she will burn herself because it gets hot and she does not recognize it. One thing to do is induction cooking, because it does not heat up the plate. It is with the magnetic induction. So the surface remains cold, plus you're still able to do what you're supposed to do. So anytime in future, if you decide that I want to change my cooking appliances, look at induction one, because then that goes into our aging in place, because it will keep you safer from that perspective. So, I'm going to stop here because I guess this is, like a tip of the iceberg on what technology can do and what you can do, right? From like really non-tech, like a cane. Well, nowadays even canes have, like you get canes with GPS, and you get cane that can give you walking directions, Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, and you get the wheels of the walker have GPS in it, and if it topples, it recognizes that the walker fell, and it sends like maybe you had a fall because the walker fell. So I mean, there's technology in everything, and but there's definitely DIY, low tech, no tech, mid tech solutions that you can implement to keep yourself safe. So let me hand over her to wrap up.
Wrap up. All right. So.
And sorry, we took a little bit longer.
Thank you. Thank you. So you thought my gloomy picture was long-winded. Now his solutions overwhelm me because there are so many of them, right? But I think the point is, there is something small, something big, something small budget, something large budget, right? Like it depends on what individual scenario is and what a person needs. So the quick recap, we looked at some of the stats. We learned falls are expensive and the cost is both monetary and long-term. We talked about how falls are preventable if we implement right strategy, because that's where that cost, right? Like, right strategies may also cost, but that might be lesser costly than what the fall itself will cost, right? So that's how we compare, because individual scenarios are different. So there are several assistive devices. There is home furnishing, home modifications, technology solutions that are available to us. And we need to craft a solution that fits our specific needs. So whether it is for us, it could be for our parents, grandparents, a sibling, somebody that needs it, our friends. The solutions need to be very individual to their needs, their budget, and their timelines. Because for someone, something might be more urgent than how it is for you, right? So gather the information, which you're already doing, you're all here, right? So gather the information, then share that, share it widely. When you learn something, let your friends learn too. And then get help when needed. Not everything needs to be done by ourselves. So get help. And help doesn't have to be hired help either. It could be your own friends, kids, grandkids, family members, right? So get that help. And then I'm going to make this call to action, right? Act now, make a plan. Think about what is urgent, what is important to you. Think about what's low budget, like, what is that low hanging fruit, something you can do yourself. Do that, assess your needs, craft a plan. And this is where my software background comes into play and product development, right? I always look at requirements, I look at needs, and I divide them into what's now, what needs to be done soon, what I can do later, right? So divide what you need into those categories based on your needs, the urgency, the importance, your budgets. Assess your needs, craft a plan. Start small, right? Start small. Anything, like, pick up that book today that you left on the floor yesterday. Even if you took that from this session, right? Just do something, start small and then build up to it. Address those key hazards immediately. Combine low-cost fixes with new tech. You might already have a smartwatch. See what more you can do with it. You might already own some of these devices. He talked about Ring camera, he talked about Alexa. Well, how can we integrate some of these solutions to craft something that works for us great? It might be working for you individually, but what if we connected it and we made it the best use possible from what we already have? And then reassess periodically, because our situation changes, right? Our ability change, our who is available to give us care, that changes. So reassess periodically, and then at that time again do this thing, now, soon, later. What do I need to do now? And then seek professional advice. If you think you cannot do something, like he said, someone can climb a stair, maybe someone cannot. Someone can integrate these devices, maybe someone cannot. And maybe you don't have some resources available to you immediately. At that time, hire somebody, right? Get the help. It's going to be cheaper than addressing a fall or addressing a situation that happens. So I'm going to end there, and I know we took a little too much time, but we are both so passionate, sometimes we get carried away and talk a little too much. That's our contact. Thank you. That's our contact right there. If you want to scan it, take down the number. If you have any questions, we'll talk now, or give us a call. We'll be there.
Thank you. Thank you, Christina.
Very informative.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. We appreciate that.